I want to welcome Cait. Thank you so much for joining me on my very first uh, go live with me with a
Yeah.
friend. It's a new feature YouTube rolled out, and I'm really happy and excited. If this works out, it could open up a whole new world to meeting weavers all over the world. So, thank you, Cait, for joining me on my maiden voyage here.
Yeah,
I
thanks for having
appreciate you being here. So, Kate, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business? First, I'm going to tell everyone Kate is a weaver. She weaves baby wraps a lot. She has a company, Greengrass Handwoven. I've added a couple links below in the description. And Kate also sells the most amazing yarn that she sources all over the place. Kate is like my doppelganger personality wise. We both homeschool, we both weave, we've got a lot of things in common other than that. Anyways, Kate, do you want to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, we Kate and my husband Rob, he works with me too, and we live in Colorado. We moved here from Florida during COVID. So we weave and we sell yarn full time. He does a little IT work on the side too, but he does all my warping and my prepping and everything that I don't really like to do, which works out perfectly. So I do the baby wraps, scarves, shawls, all of that, and then I also do selling yarn retail, and more popularly is the bulk buy group. So that takes up much more of my time than the retail, um, which is just pre-order large quantities that really none of us would have access to if we weren't combining our funds together and pooling that money and ordering these huge quantities at one time. So,
So it kind of works like a co-op, right?
yeah, yeah, like a co-op.
So, and the thing I like is that you order like really interesting things that, like, for one person to buy, it's not really feasible, right?
Right, yeah.
So, what are some of your favorite yarns?
My favorite would be sea sell cotton, and maybe
Oh,
because I don't know if it's offered elsewhere. We get it from a mill out of Canada, and their minimums are 2,000 pounds, which is a lot. I do not have the storage for 2,000 pounds. So the bulk buy group helps that I can, sell pre-sell most of it, and then get the quantity that I would need for the website and for my own weaving. Um, so yeah, but that's 50% sisal, 50% cotton. And I have some here actually. It's beautiful. Not biased again. It has like a little sheen from the sisal, but it has that like cotton feel. I'm not super big on like the synthetic feel. So it's nice that it feels like cotton still, but with like shininess and just a little slicky softness. So yeah, that would be my favorite.
oh, even over all of your silks. I know that silks are really popular. I
Silks
don't
are
use
very
silks.
I weave probably more with silk, but if it was something I was making for myself, as I do, I would probably do like 50, like a warp in silk and then that as a weft. I don't particularly love like the 100% silk for wearing myself, but I know other people do.
Do you want to show us some of your other interesting yarns that you have?
Sure. So I have some silk. Right now I get almost all of my yarns from either Peru, the Swiss mountain silks, the US and Canada. I used to get yarns from China, and then I found as like a small business, it was too hard to control quality with some of the mills in China. Like if you could fly out and you can oversee, I'm sure there's great opportunities in China, but just doing it abroad, I I couldn't control the quality like I wanted to. So I pulled back from ordering yarns from China this past year, and so now I love Peru. I love Canada. They make a lot of great stuff. The US has a lot of great options that I think get overlooked sometimes. Swiss silk. I'm trying to think where else. So this is Swiss silk, which is lovely. It's high quality. I'm very picky. So it doesn't have knots, it has splices, which when weaving, the splices are you can't even see them most of the times versus a knot where you would have to cut it out. The
Oh, yeah.
splices just make the weaving so much easier. You're not stopping to cut out the knots, and I find silk does have if you're getting a silk that has knots in it, I find there are a good amount of knots. Um, Industry standard, I think, is 2 knots per 100 grams, and when you're trying to weave, meterage, that just cutting those out adds up.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
so we've got silk, and then I have 3 sizes of that, petite, which is 12/2, 8/2, and then a 5/2, 5/2, which is a chunky, lovely silk.
I love chunky.
Yeah, me too. And then have Tencel, which again, not biased, I think is the best Tencel on the market. I get it from Canada. It's produced there. It's registered, trademarked Tencel. There are some companies that will sell Tencel, but it's just lyocell. It's not trademarked. I confirmed with the company who produces Tencel and trademarks it that this mill is authorized to sell it as Tencel, which is just interesting to learn all of these kind of things that go on behind the scenes that you wouldn't know about just as a buyer. Um, and then another Canadian option I dropped this, is ring spun tencel, which I have a pre-order open for right now, hoping to fill. It's 50% ring spun cotton, 50% tencel, and it's kind of nice. It's like the sea cell cotton. It doesn't feel too much like one of the other, it has a shine of tencel, but like feel of cotton, with just like a little softer, a little shinier. And that is all I pulled out to show you. If you have any other questions.
Sorry, Kate. I'm moving around my phone
Oh, no,
here.
you're fine.
I don't think I'm showing up
Oh,
on.
I see you now.
You do?
I do see you. Yes.
That I just I don't understand what's going on with my. Oh, I don't know what's going on. Sometimes I have this weird issue, but I think I'm just gonna have to hold my phone, and that's fine. Whatever.
Okay.
I think it'll be okay. So yeah, I just read the comments here and said, "Oh, I spoke too soon. I can't see Rebecca. Only her empty chair." Okay, well now I'm here. So I was kind of fiddling around while you talked about that last
Oh, no, you're
silk.
fine.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So you also sell some like some wools, right?
Yes. Yeah. We have a couple silk wool blends. We have a Tussa silk wool blend, uh, Tussa, and then Tussa cashmere silk. And then, let me think what else. There's a 50% silk, 50% wool that I get from Switzerland, which is lovely. It's like thick and it's called sheeprack. That's a name for it. It's thick and soft and plushy and lovely. Most of the wool I use though is mixed with silk, which I know you don't use.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I don't.
Which obviously softens it and makes it like this sleek, nice, beautiful fiber.
I know. I sometimes, I mean, I just, I can't in my heart. My partner keeps telling me, yeah, no, he said he watched my video last night and he said, everything sounded great except that you said you don't use silk because you're going to.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm not. He's always trying to talk me into using silk,
Yeah.
but I know it's lovely. I used silk once before I was vegan. I did one silk baby wrap and it had what you said, it had a billion trillion knots. It made me crazy.
Yeah.
And I
There's
didn't love.
definitely like bad yarn out there. I don't know how to say that politically correct. But there's good yarn and there's bad yarn, and it's kind of hard like as a just a consumer to know what you're getting sometimes. I mean, I learned along the way. I think a lot of people get into yarn sales, they buy a business and they're sold basically these contracts and they do it that way, but I just kind of like grinded and emailed tens of hundreds of mils, just like getting samples and kind of risking. And I did get some bad yarn. And right now, I'm like, I only stock what I use myself. So if I have it in my shop or I'm selling it in the bulk buy group and it's an order that's happened already before, it's because I've used it and I like it and I trust the source and I trust the fiber. I would never sell something that like, ooh, and I think I'm picky because I hate knots. I hate knots and I hate like there you can have like pieces of plastic that get spun in some mills and just like low
Mhm.
quality
Yep.
control. And I
I've
am
had
like
that.
very finicky. So
I know, and that's what I love about you is that I mean, I've been in your bulk buy group since you started it, and it's like, often you're like, "Oh, I got some dirty yarn. I'm just selling it off,"
yeah.
or whatever. I mean, I just know, and I mean, we were talking even before you started the bulk buy,
Yeah.
the group. I know you were emailing and checking and getting samples, and you've put a ton of work into it. And I like as a weaver knowing that you use this yarn, you know if it's good or bad yarn,
Yeah.
And some yarn, like you said, it's not great. Some
Yeah.
yarn's not great, and
Yeah.
other yarn's spectacular.
Yeah. You just kinda have to, like, try them. I mean, there's no some mills make my Canadian mill, who I love, and I love working with them, they make the Tencel, the sea-sewed cotton, the ring spun cotton. I ordered some hemp cotton from them, and I was like, "Oh my god, no, this is, like." So you kinda have to, like it's not even one mill will make all great stuff, they have their wheelhouse that you kinda have to, like, sort out through just trial and error. And it wasn't that their hemp was bad, it was that it was just, like, not soft enough to go against your skin. So it was, like, less
Yeah.
less processed hemp, which was just I was like, "Okay, so not this one again," and you keep going, try again.
I want I wonder if that's kind of the nature of hemp because 'cause I've bought a lot of hemp over the years, cotton hemp from Maurice Broussard, and, like, sometimes it's amazing and other times I'm kinda questionable. Like,
Yeah,
it's not as
yeah,
nice.
it could be. I mean, every batch is gonna be a little different for everything, even the same fiber, just, it's seasons, growing conditions, all of these things factor into the final product, so
Right. So what's your best seller?
Um, I would say probably the ring spun cotton, just like the I offer it really affordably. I mean, even in my retail, I try to only mark up what I try not to mark up too much. I think a lot of these
Mhm.
sellers they are marking up just very high, and they have higher overhead. They have employees and warehouses and all this stuff. I'm doing this out of my house, so I don't
Yeah,
have to make the profit margins they do. I don't
yeah.
answer to anyone. If I lose money, it's like, oh, don't do that
You
again.
answer to your husband.
Yeah. So the ring spun cotton I keep, as low as I can. It's just like a great entry level option. It's soft, it's nice, it weaves up great. I think you mentioned it in your video yesterday.
I
It's a little
did, yeah.
bit, um, but that's kind of a ring spun characteristic. But I would say that probably sells the most. I have that in 8.2 and 6.2. And then I would say CISO cotton sells probably the second most to those. And then Tencel would be the third. I sell a lot. I have 5.2 Tencel in stock right now. That's a mill that has a 2,000 pound quantity minimum order. So we did the 5.2 Tencel last year in the bulk buy group, and then we're hoping to do the 8.2 Tencel this year in the bulk buy group. And I can't say enough good things about that Tencel. It's very high quality, and I mean, everyone who's tried it is begging me to do the 8.2. So
Oh, yeah, I love Tencel, it's just so if somebody d I don't use silk, so Tencel to
yeah,
me is a nice, similar sort of type of fiber.
yeah, yeah.
Not silk, but
It's
I
a
think it
vegan
might
silk.
be a s what's that? It's
I said
vegan?
vegan silk. Yeah,
Vegan silk, yeah, I think it's as close as you're gonna get,
yeah.
I think. Or maybe you know something else. Do you know is there another one? What else would you think?
I don't. I think Tencel would be. It just has that like slick feel. Like I can't think of anything else that, especially the 5.2. I feel like the thickness of that it really feels like silk the most. And it's kind of like solid in hand and hard to break. You cannot break it with your. If you try to like break it, you'll have a cut on both sides of
Yeah.
your hand. It's
Yeah.
not. I don't recommend.
No. I really love the, I mentioned it last night, the Sea Island cotton.
Yes. Yeah, that one is expensive. Even for me buying I'm just like, "Oh god." Uh,
Mhm.
it's so lovely though. It really is unlike any other cotton. But telling that to someone who has never tried it before is hard sometimes. Like,
You, you,
the just it's I think it's like 6 times the cost of Supima,
yeah. Yeah, something
something.
like
No, maybe not that much. I'm thinking
a lot.
kilogram price per, and I'm comparing kilogram price and pound price. Like 4 times the cost of Supima probably. So it is, but it's quite nice.
But it's probably 4 times
It
as
really
nice.
it
I
might
don't
be,
know.
yeah.
I can tell, like, I have, I have a whole store downstairs of woven material, and I pull them out all the time, and I'll be like, "Oh, why is this one so, oh, yeah. Oh, nice. It feels so different from the rest."
Yeah.
And
It,
yeah,
like,
cotton,
feels
it's so
broken
nice.
in the second it comes off the loom. There's no, like, it's just, like, this soft puddle that, like, your favorite shirt,
Mhm.
that, like, you get after years. Sea Island cotton is that, like, this immediately, which is just great.
Yeah, I know. I love it. I know it's I I don't use it all that much, although I have a ton of it downstairs. I should use it more. I should use up what I've got. It's like I try and just keep it for
Yeah.
special things, but I've got a lot. I'm sure I think I bought a lot from you. Not I don't know
Yeah.
when. I don't know when I buy. I tend to buy a lot when I
Yeah.
buy anything at a time. It's just easier, but that's the way I like to beam, right? With as many cones as I need for each end,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. But yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, so we've talked about where you got the yarn. Somebody here, Bella Anima Handcrafted, says she loves your submarine
Oh,
silk.
yes. Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. That's kind of like a play on Submarine Silk is a comes from Henry's Attic. It comes from Swiss Mountain Yarns, and then Henry's Attic is a U.S. distributor for that. Um, and I don't think it's a trademark name, but it's their name for it's Swiss silk. It's silk, wool, and sea cell, and so I
Oh,
have a blend, and it's silk wool tencel, and Julie Miller petitioned the name Submarine Silk because it's like kind of subbing sea cell for tinsel. And I just thought it was a cute little name, so that's what we call it. And
I
yeah,
see. Okay.
yeah,
I did not know
yeah.
that.
So that one's fun, and it's very similar. It's I mean, I love marine silk. I love submarine silk. They're both great yarns. But yeah, that's where that one
That's
came from.
that's interesting. Does anyone have any questions for Kate? Oh, we have her here. I see there's a few of you on here. If you're on here and you're thinking of it, maybe push that little like
Mhm.
button too. While you're it
Yeah,
helps, right? Um, so I'm really interested too in the fact that, I mentioned that we have a lot of things in common, and one of which is we work from home, we're homeschoolers, and our partners work in our businesses with
yeah,
us. So Rob has transitioned into your business. You said he's doing all the jobs that you
hmm,
don't
yeah.
particularly love. How's he enjoying it? Does he like to do the jobs that you don't love, or do you
He
just make
does.
him?
He's very methodical, and just he has a job and he works on it and then he gets done. Where I'm kind of like, oh, la, la, la," all over the place. Like I get distracted and I hop from one project to the next. So I think like the measuring, he just like he's better at measuring than I. He was better at measuring than I was like a month into doing it. He just can like knock out a warp in a couple hours, like long, wide warps in a couple hours. And I'm just like, whoa, which is helpful. Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's great. I was thinking I was missing some comments here, but they're just trickling in here. I think it's maybe me. I don't know. But one of the questions here is, do weaving sea cotton combined with tencel bring good results? What's the drape
The
like?
drape would be so it would depend on the thickness of the tensile, I would say. If you're going to do an seasell cotton warp, which is 6'2", and then if you did like a tensile 8'2" weft, that would be very drapey and soft. And because you have now 75% of that is a viscose fiber. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Viscose. Um, you know how to say that word?
How do you say what is it?
Is it viscose or it's like
Viscose. I think it's
viscose.
viscose.
Thank you. Yes. I knew I wasn't saying it right. So 75% of that would be viscose at that point, which would be obviously drapey and lovely and soft and shiny. But yeah, I think that would be a great option.
I think so too. Alicia says, I'm new to weaving with no stash. What are the best yarns to start out with?
So almost well, all of what I sell is undyed. So if you haven't tried dyeing, I would definitely start with a low end yarn, or like a less expensive yarn. I mean,
Yeah,
probably don't jump right into silk. Tencel takes dye beautifully. You don't have to scour.
yeah.
You
Hmm.
just dye it, and it's.
Yeah.
I would say ring spun too, but you do have to make sure you scour. You know, you're really penetrating the yarn. Boil it, soak in ash. Make sure you're getting in there and look it over for white spots. So that's the most frustrating thing to me is when I'm done with a warp and I love it, and then there's a white spot, and I'm just like, you
I
know.
know.
So Tencel, ring spun, sea silk cotton. Again, I really love that one. That one I don't scour either. I do wash it in lukewarm water. I find like some yellow in the water when I
Mhm.
wash it. So I mean, cotton's dirty. It's not really unexpected. That one's a good one. It really just absorbs. So when I dye that flat, I don't even have to flip most of the time. The backside is like fully
Nice.
saturated, which is nice. And then yeah, I think those would be where I'd start. Um, because they're all under 20 a pound. I mean, ring spun I think is $11 a pound. Tencel, I think I have at 18 a pound, and sea silk cotton I have at 20 a pound. And I mean, you can do a lot with a pound on a
Oh
scarf
yeah.
warp, you know. So and you can get a pound of each and kind of play around and see what you like. And yeah.
Sorry, there's lots of questions here, but that did remind me before I move on. Are you able are I can't remember. Are you scanning or not scanning, but putting yarn on cones for like if
Yeah.
somebody doesn't want to buy a 5 pound cone of
Yes,
yarn?
I do. I don't it's like just over there, just out
Oh
of
yeah,
sight.
yeah, I can see the
I
corner of it
have
there.
I have a coning machine. So I do 1 pound or so I offer 1 pound and you know, I offer the full 5 or 3 pound on the website and then also the 1 pound. But if you wanted even smaller than that, you wanted like 10, 100 gram cones, you can just email me and we can, you know, just sort that out.
Work that out. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
move on with the next
Okay.
question. Seems like I'm okay. Chelsea Fremming says, Kate, are you looking into any new fibers for this coming year? What other orders do you have planned for the coming year?
I don't have anything new. Well, nothing new. I'd like to do CSEL Tencel, which is 50% CSEL, 50% Tencel. And that's like another kind of silk adjacent vegan option for silk. It's like slinky, soft. And then I have that order up in the bulk buy group, getting collections for that now, but it's been slow going. And then 8-2 Tencel, I've had a lot of messages asking if I could run that.
And
Um,
that's a 2,000
that's a
kilogram
2,000 pound, so
pound.
almost
Okay,
2,000
that's better,
pound.
but
Yeah,
still a lot.
um,
Whew.
that's all I have really planned for right now. I feel like winter kinda slows down and spring comes around, and then it picks up a little bit and be looking for more things and yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, Bella Anima handcrafted. What is your favorite yarn for scarves and shawls?
Um, let me think. There's a lot of them. Animal blends, I love animal blends. Yak silk, alpaca silk, um I like
Yak
those
silk sounds fun.
crafts. And then for warps, I like, you know, Tencel, sea silk cotton, sea island cotton, silk. I kind of like everything.
Because you only work with the
It's hard to
stuff you
narrow
like,
it down
right?
when you have like a lot of nice fibers all in one place, you know?
Uh-huh.
Uh, yeah. Everything kind of has its own benefits and negatives, you know? But like you really can't go wrong, in my opinion, mixing a cotton with a a silk or a tencel or a sea cell. I think I really like blending them together personally. I don't like all cotton or all tencel or all silk. I like mixing and matching personally.
to give you
You kinda get, like,
a diff
yeah, all the different, like, you get some grip and glide, and it's
yeah.
really warm, and yeah.
Mr. Tom is wondering, what's your favorite thing to weave?
Weave, like, item, or you
I
think
think that's what he means.
okay.
I
I
think.
I like scarves more than anything. They're just, like, fast and fun, and, you can kind of, like, I mean, baby wraps are so long, and sometimes 5 meters feels like 100 meters. So doing, like, the short, like, little, like, 2 meters, and then you're done, and then you're on to the next one. I love weaving those.
It's because 'cause you're doing all those fancy
Yeah,
lace work,
yeah,
stitches. That's
yeah.
5,000 miles long. It's
Yeah,
gotta feel like I look at
yeah,
the work you're doing and I'm thinking, "Oh, no thanks. I
yeah.
can't
I
do it."
do like the stitches. I think they add, like, nice accents on the tails and
Y
everything, so
yeah,
that's
yeah, no, I agree, they look spectacular.
yeah.
I don't have that particular patience level. Pat Lawson says this conversation is very interesting, especially learning about fiber consistencies depending on when and where it's sourced. Yeah. And Pat Lawson also says, do you ever weave with wool?
Yes, I do,
I do too, but I think maybe
yeah.
we're talking to you here.
I weave, not I can't remember the last time I used 100% wool. A lot of silk wool, or, more yeah, silk wool blend I use quite often. Trying to think of when I used wool last by itself, but I don't think so. I like the no, that's silk wool too. I was gonna say the Jaeger spun, the Zephyr. I'm like, "Oh, no, that's silk wool." So, yeah.
I have merino cashmere that I really
Mhm.
love.
Yes, that's lovely.
I It's so much softer than
Yeah.
just merino. I talked about this last night. And I have done that as warp. I actually was just touching one of the wraps I did just yesterday or the day before. It's like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
nice. Like, yeah, I like that. Thank you for enlightening us with this conversation on the topic. Well, thank you. I'm assuming it's Mary Jane, M. Jane. That's nice. Thanks. So I have loved our chat, Kate. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes, thank you for having me.
I would love to have you back if you're interested, and we could discuss some of the ways that maybe like I'm interested in, do you sectionally beam and I want to ask all those questions, but I think that maybe not tonight on this particular
Okay.
topic, but I have all these questions I want to ask, and I even think I would love we could probably do a studio tour by this way if you held your phone. I think we could probably
Yeah,
manage that.
yeah,
And I would really love to do that. And I think that this Go With Me Live could work out for studio tours.
yeah,
That's
totally. I would need a clean first, so give me a couple days heads up, and then yeah.
all right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. If anyone has any more questions, I'll give you a couple more minutes to get them in before we sign off for the evening. I've really appreciated your time, Kate.
Yes, thank you.
I'm so glad that Rob encouraged you to come on tonight.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh." But no, it's been fun. It's been yeah.
Yeah, aside from me kind of making some glitches, but it's like I'll get better at
Yeah.
this. I'm sorry, we had a little bit of a late start because of me glitching, and then, of course, you just got to see my chair. I'm not seeing any more questions come in, so I'm gonna log off.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Bye.
thanks.
Thanks for watching, everyone.